Facebook custom audiences. These are a source of great confusion and frustration for a lot of beginner advertisers out there. So I'm going to take today's video to break it down and distill it in a way that it will make sense for you. And you're definitely going to want to stay tuned to the end, because I'm actually going to show my screen and walk you through how to set up the 3 primary Facebook custom audiences. What's up everybody, Alvaro here from Alvaro Barrios Digital, and today we're going all over custom audiences inside of Facebook. So before we actually dive in and I share my screen and walk you through it, let me first give you a definition of Facebook custom audiences. So a lot of people hear that term and they just have no idea what it means. It almost even sounds like, oh, it's a cold traffic audience because you customize which options you want to target, and it's actually not the case at all. Custom audiences are warm audiences. That's it. So whether it's an email list, your website visitors, people following you on social media, whatever it might be, just substitute the word custom with warm or existing audience, and that's what that is. So that's already going to take away a lot of confusion for you in the first place. So on top of that, there are also 4 possible Facebook custom audiences available to you. There are website custom audiences, app activity custom audiences, customer list audiences, and engagement audiences. Now, I'm not going to be covering app activity audiences simply because, to be honest, I've actually never done that before. None of my clients have apps, so there's nothing really for me to show. So I'm going to go over the 3 main ones that 99% of advertisers use, which are website audiences, customer list audiences, and engagement audiences. So let's go ahead and start breaking down the first one, website audiences. So these are people who are visiting your website. But in order for this audience to work, you first and foremost have to have your Facebook Pixel installed. So if your Pixel is not installed on your website, this option is not available to you, and it's one of the reasons why you want to make sure you install your Pixel as soon as possible, because even if you're not currently running ads, or you even won't be running ads for, let's say, even a couple months, go ahead and install your Pixel anyway. That way, once you do start advertising, then you can have this custom audience ready for you. You can go ahead and start targeting your warmest traffic, people visiting your web page. And setting it up is pretty simple. There are a couple different options you can choose from. You can do all website visitors, you can do visitors to a specific page, or you can do visitors by time spent. Personally, I create audiences of all 3 types, but one of my favorites is the visitors by time spent, and this is one of the least utilized custom audiences available to you. And so when you click on that, you see that there's actually 3 options there. So there's top 25%, top 10%, and then top 5%. And these are really great ways to increase the quality of your custom audience, because when you do all website visitors, which I'm not saying you shouldn't use, like I said, I do create all of these and I do use all website visitors for many of the campaigns that I run. But at the end of the day, when you do all website visitors, the challenge is that you're also going to have a lot of low quality traffic included in that, right? There's plenty of people that make it to your website, they bounce right away. They're not actually interested in your product or service. Whereas when you narrow it down by top 25, 10, or 5%, you're only including the people who are spending the most amount of time on your website, which means in all likelihood they are very much interested in your product or service. So it's a great way to have a higher quality audience for you to get in front of, and also it's a great way to create a high quality lookalike off of, because you're doing a lookalike of all website visitors versus the top 5% visitors over the last 180 days, then the lookalike for the top 5% visitors is going to be much more powerful. And that is also an important note right there. For these website custom audiences, you get to choose the date range, right? You can make it 1 day, 2 days, 10 days, or 30 days, whatever it might be. The maximum though is 180 days. Anyone who came on your website more than 180 days ago is now no longer going to be a part of the custom audience right there. So whenever you name these, just make sure you make it very clear and obvious. Don't just say website audience and then that's it, right? So if you're doing all website visitors, call it all website visitors, 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is, and then visited this specific page audience, or top visitors 25%, top visitors 10%, so on and so forth. You always want to make sure that your naming conventions are very clear, that when you use them, there is no confusion. Now for the top 25, 10, and 5% audiences, if you don't have a whole lot of traffic going to your website, you're probably not going to be able to use these, and I wouldn't advise them. And so in that case, you want to use the all website visitors one. But if you do have a lot of visitors, and I'm talking about thousands of people making to your website a month, maybe even tens of thousands, then the top visitors by 25, 10, and 5% are going to be an excellent option for you to target. All right, now let's move on over to customer lists. So this is when you upload a list of people who have opted into your website before, they're on your CRM, and so you can upload this list and Facebook will then match it with the emails that they use on Facebook. So that is one important thing to know, right? If you have an email list of 1,000 people that you upload into Facebook, not all 1,000 people are going to be available to you on Facebook. The email that you have that you upload has to match the email that they're using on their Facebook account. So because of that, match rates tend to be somewhere between 50 and 70%. I always just like to assume it's the lower end of that. So if I upload a list of 1,000 emails, I'm just assuming that there's going to be 500 people that I can ultimately target in that list. Now, one thing to note with the email is that this doesn't require a Facebook pixel at all, right? It comes directly from your email list. You can upload it, so there's no pixel required. So if you're just brand new, haven't installed your pixel yet, you still actually do have access to this one, and it's a very easy one to get going with. Now, you have a couple of different options when you're uploading this. You can upload a list with customer values. So if you know the lifetime value of some of your customers, this is a great way to create a high quality lookalike in the future. Or you can upload a list with no customer value, which is actually what the vast majority of people do. So either way, if you have the data or you don't have the data, you have a couple different options in terms of how you can use this information. Now, another thing to note, if you are ultimately going to create a lookalike off of this audience or any custom audience for that matter, then one thing is that there needs to be a minimum of 100 people, right? So if you upload an email list and there's fewer than 100 people that get matched, you're never going to be able to create a lookalike audience off of that. Moreover, if you're actually going to retarget people, so let's forget about lookalikes in this instance, you're just planning to run some ads to your website audience, your email list, whatever it might be, there needs to be roughly at least 200 to 250 people in that audience. Otherwise, the Facebook ads just won't fire. Facebook actually tells you need a minimum of 1,000 in order to do retargeting, but I can tell you from experience, that's actually not the case. If you get to about roughly 200 to 250, you're going to be able to do some retargeting that way. All right, and then the last custom audience is the engagement audience. So this is people who are engaging with you on social media. So your Facebook social media followers, your Instagram social media followers, so on and so forth. And there are a lot of options right here to choose from when you're creating the engagement audiences. So as you can see right here, when we're using just Instagram as the first example, you can choose the default, which is everyone who has engaged with your Instagram business profile. That's any type of engagement whatsoever, including people who just visit your profile very quickly and leave, all the way to the people who are DMing you, maybe saving your post, this, that, and the other. So that's that one. The cool thing about these ones is that unlike the website custom audiences, there's actually a maximum of 365 days for these ones. You can go a lot farther into the past in terms of who is included in this compared to your website custom audiences. So definitely, like I said, I do always like to start with the default of all engagement, but I do also like creating some of these more specific ones, because at the end of the day, like I said, the all engagement is also going to include people who visited your profile very quickly, left, they didn't care about you, maybe they even accidentally made it to your profile, so on and so forth. That's not going to be a high quality person, so why would you want to spend dollars to get in front of that person? Instead, what you can also do is create some of these more specific ones where there's a very specific action that they're taking with your profile, whether it be that they're saving your post or sending you a message or what have you. If they're saving your post or sending you a message, that's a very high action saying that they're very interested in your product or service. So clearly that's the type of person that you want to make sure that you're getting in front of all the time. Now, similar to your website visitors, if you don't have a big social media following, if not a whole lot of people are engaging with you on social media, these more specific ones, you're probably not going to be able to use them because you're probably going to have fewer than 100 people inside that audience, or 200 people, I should say. So, right, go ahead and make it, and hopefully in the future you utilize them. But if you do have a very big following, I highly encourage you to lean into these higher quality, more specific engagement audiences, because you're going to get much better results. And as always, thinking further down the line, if you're going to create a lookalike audience off of these, you're going to get a much higher quality lookalike. All right, so there you have it. Now we have walked through the 3 primary custom audiences available to you on Facebook. If you have any questions about any of these, as always, let me know in the comments below. And if there's any topics you'd like for me to cover in the future, also let me know, and I'll be happy to go over that subject. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.